So the NHL Network released their defensemen rankings for 2024, and let's just say there was a lot of feedback. Find out where Miro Heiskanen lands next on Locked On Stars.
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. It's a very sad day in the hockey community. And for those of you who do not know as of yet, Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew Gaudreau tragically passed away last night in a drunk driving accident. And I went to bed last night seeing the rumors circulating on Twitter, and it just made me sick to even think about it. And then I woke up with the news being confirmed, and it's just terrible, terrible. Of course, we're losing great hockey players, but just better people, right? And the stories that are coming out about Matthew and Johnny are truly incredible, and just a sad, sad day in general. And I just want to read this statement from Jim Gaudreau, their uncle. And he said, "Last night we lost 2 husbands, 2 fathers, 2 sons, 2 brothers, 2 sons and brothers-in-law, 2 nephews, 2 cousins, 2 family members, 2 teammates, 2 friends, but truly 2 amazing humans. We want to let everyone know we are receiving your messages of love and support, and we appreciate your continued thoughts and prayers. We ask for your continued respect and privacy during this very difficult period of grief from all of our families in the bottom of our hearts." So just a sad, sad day in general. And of course, thoughts and prayers to everybody in the Gaudreau family. The Stars also put out a statement that said the Dallas Stars organization and Texas hockey family are heartbroken, enjoying the hockey community, and mourning the loss of Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew. We extend our deepest condolences to the Gaudreau family and friends, and to all affected by the tragic loss of the Gaudreau brothers. So just wanted to address that before we hop into today's episode, because of course life is always so precious, and just a tough day for a lot of people within the hockey community. So just want to keep our thoughts and prayers with the Gaudreau family. So just want to address that real quick, and we'll hop in to today's episode. So on Wednesday, I predicted where Miro Heiskanen was going to land on this year's top 20 NHL defensemen heading in to next season. And I picked Miro to be at number 4 behind, I believe it was Josi, Makar, and Hughes. But little did we know, the NHL Network put this out, and boy, did a lot of people have some gripes and concerns about who was putting together this list. So I want to share the list with you today, and I'll also let you know where Miro Heiskanen falls on this list this season. So not a lot of surprises in the top 5, maybe. Actually, there was a big surprise with Adam Fox being so low. But the top 10, I'm just going to give it to you now. Cale Makar at 1, Quinn Hughes at 2, Hedman at 3, Josi 4, Miro Heiskanen comes at number 5. So he dropped this year on the list. He was number 4 last season. Gustav Forsling slots in at number 6. He was unranked last year, of course, had an incredible postseason and year with the Panthers on their way to a Stanley Cup. So he slots into number 6. McAvoy at 7, and this is the one that got everybody out of sorts. Adam Fox at number 8. And I'm on the record of not being a huge Fox fan, but I still understand and respect Adam Fox as a player, and realize he's in the conversation of top 3 defensemen in the NHL with Miro, Hughes, and Makar. He's at that level, and he's finished within the top 5 of Norris Trophy voting in the last 3 seasons, and they have him here at number 8, and this got a ton of people up in arms. Evan Bouchard slots in at number 9. No big surprise there. He had a big year. And then Devon Tays at 10. So that rounds out your top 10. But Adam Fox got people in a gripe, and rightfully so. To have a guy that's put together like 3 incredible consecutive seasons, to see him at number 8 was pretty jarring for a lot of people. But Miro comes in at number 5, and look, we talked about it really this past season in general. He has established himself as one of the best defensemen in the NHL, but can he elevate his offensive play? Because that's going to take him into the upper echelon of really competing for Norris trophies, right? You have to at least be sniffing around 75 to 80 points. You want to be a point per game player on the back end to really get that recognition. Of course, Quinn Hughes is the Norris Trophy winner. I thought he was going to come in at number 1, but Cale Makar, for my money, is the best in the business. I would take Makar over Hughes, but I could see people having an issue with Hughes winning the Norris this past season. Hedman's a bit high for my liking. Josi at 4 doesn't irritate me very much. He's still been really, really good, and he put together a nice season last year, and he was 3rd in the Norris Trophy voting. I think you got to move Fox in the top 5. I think you replace Fox with Hedman, and people wouldn't have had much of an issue there. It just shocked a ton of people that Fox comes in at number 8, and he's from a big market. And I understand the NHL Network sometimes is trying to get the conversation rolling, and sometimes that's their job, and they certainly had it going on X and other social medias. Jason Demers actually came out and put out his own list of top 10 defensemen right now. Of course, Jason Demers, a former Dallas Star, and this one is still surprising, but I think people had received it better, I could say. So Makar 2, he had Josi or Makar 1, Josi at 2, very high on Miro. No surprise there. Demers is still a big Stars fan at the end of the day, at least from what you get from him on X. So Miro comes in at 3, Hughes at 4, Hedman at 5, Forsling 6, Devon Toews at 7. He has Ekholm at number 8, Fox at number 9, and McAvoy at number 10. So he still has Fox very, very low. And look, I've said it before. I'm not the biggest Fox fan, but it is really hard to keep him out of the top 5 because he has been very, very good over an extended period of time now. So that can come to a shock of many. But to finish out your top 20, they have Dahlin at number 11. Dahlin was 7 last year, so he dropped a bit. Morrissey at 12. Jacob Slavin 13. Werenski at 14. Noah Dobson, who I really, really like. Very underrated defenseman for the Islanders. He comes in at 15. Ekholm at 16. They got Drew Doughty 17. Hannafin, Dougie Hamilton, and then Moritz Seider to round out your top 20. But there was a lot of feedback on this top 20 list. I'll say the top 10 isn't egregious with the names. I think just the rankings and slots is where people have an issue. Here is how I would rank my top 10 NHL defensemen right now. I would take Makar number 1. I would have Fox at 2. I'd have Miro at number 3. Then Josi at 4. At number 5, I could probably put Hedman in there, even though I still think that's a bit high. And then I would have McAvoy at 6, Forsling at 7, and I would throw Dahlin in there probably at number 9 or number 8, excuse me. Then Bouchard, then Toews is how my top 10 would be. That would be my rebuttal. Or I didn't put Quinn Hughes in there, excuse me. Quinn Hughes would be at number 5. That's where I messed up. So I would have Makar, I would have Fox, I would have Heiskanen, then I'd have Josi, Hughes for my top 5. I would take Miro over Hughes right now. after what we saw from Quinn in the postseason. So that's why I would drop him a bit. I think Josi is still really, really strong. But for the most part, I think the names in there are pretty decent. But Fox at 8 is a real stretch, especially behind McAvoy and Forsling. And that's no disrespect to either of them. They're very, very good defensemen. But I just Fox has put himself at a different level. So an interesting ranking, and they certainly got the ball moving on this. I've seen a lot of people put in their rankings. Here's one from somebody that commented: Cale, Quinn, Roman, Hedman, Fox. He has Miro at 6, Slavin, Evan, Bouchard, Josh, and then Hannafin to round out his top 10. So a lot of people have different thoughts, of course, on the matter. But Miro Heiskanen comes in at number 5. Not a big surprise there. Not surprised he dropped either, because he had a real dip in his production. But man, he's starting to get the respect amongst his peers and the national media, for that matter, which is a good sign. I think Miro, at this point, we kind of understand what we're going to get out of him. He's really, really good, and he plays all 3 zones incredibly. You're not going to get a massive amount of offensive output on a year-to-year basis, but look, he has it in him. I mean, we saw him put up 73 points a few seasons ago, and it's not like that's anything to scoff at. That's really, really high-level offensive play, but we all understand where his priority is and where he's going to thrive within this Star system. So I'm curious, too, on his approach and his style next season, because we don't necessarily know if he's going to be with Harley. If he's with Harley, we kind of understand, but I'm so intrigued to see his play with someone like Lyubushkin or even Matt Dumba on his strong side. Does it actually unlock something offensively for him? I think it will to some degree, but is it going to be huge, or is it Miro's just so good it doesn't really matter if he's on his off or strong side, which we know he can, but could that unlock something even further on his strong side? That's what I'm really, really intrigued about with Miro. But I mean, he's going to consistently be in these conversations of one of the best. And every time Dallas is in the postseason, he gets the toughest matchup. He plays the most minutes, and yeah, he locks in every single time and garners the respect of opponents and the league in general. He put up really, really good advanced numbers last year too. If you look at the 5-on-5 play and the postseason in particular, he just played a ton of minutes. I think he was second in Corsi for percentage behind Makar. And he was very, very effective. Unfortunately, I think he just got worn out in that Edmonton series, and McDavid made him look silly a couple of times. But at the end of the day, McDavid makes a lot of defensemen look silly. So there's your NHL defenseman rankings for 2024. We'll see how it shuffles around as the year moves on. The NHL released their national TV schedule, and the Dallas Stars have 14 national TV games next season. I'll share with you the numbers and the dates for those in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel has a wonderful opportunity for you Stars fans. You've heard me talk about FanDuel a ton, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, they have something a little different, and you don't want to miss it. Through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Yes, NFL Sunday Ticket. You can tune in to every single out-of-market game. Then with a YouTube TV-based plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Go ahead and sign up for FanDuel right now. Through September 22nd, you can get 3-week free trial to NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So just visit FanDuel.com, download America's #1 sportsbook. Hey, Locked On Stars listeners, thank you so much for making this podcast your first listen of the day. Make Locked On NHL your second listen. Locked On NHL provides you a national perspective on all things NHL each and every day. National experts along with local insights on every team of the league. Available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. So the Dallas Stars went ahead and released their national broadcast schedule yesterday for the 2024-25 season. And the Dallas Stars will appear on national TV 14 times on ESPN, ABC, TNT, and then, of course, ESPN Plus / Hulu next season. I want to say that was tied for third. There was a team that had 17 national TV games, but Dallas finds themselves in the spotlight 14 times next season, which is a nice thing. Always a good time to watch the Stars on the national broadcast. Even though I completely understand, including myself, it can be really rough sometimes to listen to the broadcasters for certain national broadcasts. But it's good that Dallas is getting some recognition, and if they're on 14 times, that means they're pretty good. I think they got on 12 times last year, which was a jump from like 8. So Dallas is in the conversation of a contender, obviously, after what they've done the past few seasons, and usually the national TV schedule sort of reflects that. You're going to get your Chicagos in the world with Bedard. He's going to get a lot of games, and you're going to get your Crosbys and your Ovechkins. They usually garner a lot of attention, but Dallas gets on the national TV broadcast 14 times next season. It starts on October 10th when the Stars take on the Predators. Of course, that is the season opener. Then on the 29th against Colorado of November. December 4th, they take on the Kings. They usually always play the Kings on a national TV game. Kind of weird. I think it's because it's late night. They can kind of double up. Stars will get Bedard on December 29th, so just a couple of days before the new year. They get Bedard, and that will be at Chicago. January 21st, they get Carolina. The 24th, they get Vegas, and the 28th, they get Vegas as well. So that rivalry will continue to heat up. I think Vegas and Dallas played a couple times on national TV last season as well. February 4th, they get the Ducks. March 2nd, they get St. Louis. Get New Jersey on March 4th. Colorado again on the 16th of March. They get Edmonton on the 26th, so a rematch of the Western Conference Final. April 5th, they get Pittsburgh, and then April 6th, which will be one of the last games of the season against the Minnesota Wild. That will be an afternoon game. So a handful of TNT games, plenty of ESPN Plus games, and then it looks like just one ESPN game, and that's on the 24th. Against Vegas. So some good stuff there, and nice of the national broadcast outlets to recognize the Stars as being one of the better teams. And so always some good stuff there, and we'll keep an eye on that as the months wear on. Just a couple of weeks away from training camp. Can you believe it? It is right around the corner. I do want to apologize for a later episode today. For those of you watching on YouTube, you can tell I got a brand new space and everything. I just moved to Corpus Christi for the new position I mentioned a few days ago. So we got some bare walls. Lighting's going to be an issue. I can't really do much with these blinds. It only goes one way. I don't know why. So we're going to make this feel as cozy as possible. Probably need to soundproof it a bit. I can hear the echo. Hopefully that's not coming through on the video, but just getting settled in. It was a long day yesterday, but I'm happy to be here, and we'll get it set up, and I'll be coming to you from this location for the next 6 to 7 months here. So good stuff in general. Okay. Anyways, enough of me rambling and personal stuff. The NHL did some super goalie rankings. Jake Oettinger finds himself in the top 10. I'll tell you where he falls, and we'll discuss the ranking in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And that's what Game Time is all about. It saves you time and money and takes all the stress out of trying to find tickets. And they have everything you could imagine: sports, concerts, comedy, theater, you name it, they have it. Use Game Time and go ahead and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Go ahead and use Game Time to take all the stress out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL. That's Locked On NHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it, Stars fans? It's game time. So the NHL continues to pump out these rankings, and I apologize for all these lists and whatnot, but content is very, very dry this time of year in the NHL, and usually these are fun, and they make for some good conversation. Anyways, the league put out their Super 16 goalie rankings, and Jake Oettinger finds himself within the top 10. And I think a very, very fair ranking as well, after what we would deem a very below average year for Jake Oettinger. So they did this based off a point system. Your top five, no surprise here. Connor Hellenbuck comes in at number 1. He had a total of 193 points. Shesterkin at 2. Swayman at 3, you got Bobrovsky at 4, and then Andrei Vasilevsky rounds out your top 5. Demko at 6, then you see Saros at number 7, and that's where you find Dallas Stars netminder Jake Oettinger. He comes in at number 8 with a total of 131 points. So the little expert here says, at 25 years old, Oettinger already has proven to be one of the best goalies in the NHL and was number 4 on my list. He's led the Stars to the Western Conference Final the past 2 seasons and has allowed 2 goals or fewer in 19 of his 38 playoff starts, including 11 of 19 during last season's postseason run. Since making his NHL debut on the 28th of January in 2021, his 2.51 goals against average ranks 5th among goalies, and he's one of the 16 goalies with at least 10 shutouts. That his 2.7 goals against average and .905 save percentage in 54 games during the regular season last season could be considered a down season speaks how high the bar has already been set. There's a lot of talent around Oettinger, but it's goaltending that's a big reason for the Stars will enter 2024 and 25 again as a Stanley Cup contender. And I went over this a few weeks ago on a Locked On Stars episode, and in comparing Ottinger's first 4 seasons in the NHL to some of the better goaltenders in our generation, right? The Marc-Andre Fleury's of the world and Carey Price's. And this is the season now for Oettinger where we saw other goalies like Price and Fleury really pop and have like career years in their 4th full season in the National Hockey League. And I think this is a great point, and that is made about how high the bar really has been set. It was obviously a dip in his numbers, but since he's entered the league and he's been the Stars' number 1 netminder, he's been really, really good. And he ranks amongst the Hellenbucks and the Swaymans of the world. Just last year, it did not come together for him. So there's this evolution of his game, and he's going to be fully healthy finally. He's had a good summer. He got married. His sister got married, and he gets to come into this year with sort of a full offseason under his belt, unlike the previous year where he went through a surgery and was not on the ice as much. So we could be looking at a big, big year for Jake Oettinger. And I also mentioned that it's a contract year for Otter. And you see a lot of guys play really, really well in their contract year. So I think good things are in order. And I think that little expert from Adam also shows that Otter's been really good. And I know a lot of people have concerns and don't think he is the guy, but I mean, he's led the Stars to a Western Conference Final appearance in the last 2 seasons. And look, you can come at me and say that wasn't him, and that was mostly the offense that was carrying him through. And yes, Jake Oettinger had a few stinkers in the postseason. He usually has one every series, unfortunately. But man, last year, he was so damn good. He was so damn good, especially late in that Vegas series. Don't forget about that. He was very, very solid in the Colorado series as well, even though Colorado didn't test him as much as they would have liked. But he has been really, really good. And I think the postseason numbers really reflect that as well. He takes his game to another level. And that's what you expect. He needs to be good during the regular season, of course, but man, Dallas needs him to be his best in the postseason. And every year he usually is. And we got to see that last season, which is a good sign. So wanted to share this ranking for you. Sorokin came in at number 9 just to finish out your top 16. Ullmark at 10, who, of course, just got traded to Ottawa. You have Binnington 11, Stuart Skinner at 12. He got a big bump after this postseason. Markstrom 13. I think he could have a big year in New Jersey. He's kind of fallen off the last couple of seasons. Georgiev at 14. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen at 15. Then Charlie Lindgren, who had a really, really nice season for Washington, comes in at number 16. So I did want to share some of the other rankings from each from each contributor to this article, because as Adam said, he actually had Oettinger at number 4. One of these has Oettinger at 11, another at 8. You see Oettinger at 6 on this one. So he's a consensus top 10 goalie. If top 5 from many. This one at Oettinger at 5. You see Otter here at 10. So he's in that top 10, top 5 ish. You kind of see him in that group of Demko and Ullmark. So he can, opinions can vary on Oettinger, and I've said it a lot. I'm pretty high on him. I think when he's at his best, he's going to be a top 5 netminder in the NHL. I think the numbers bear that out since he entered the league, and we've seen it in the postseason. Hopefully we get a better Jake Oettinger for 24-25. And look, for as much as I've griped about the Stars' defensive concerns, if you get Otter to be on his game in the regular season, Dallas is going to be really, really good. And one of the things he really needs to flip is the home numbers. His home numbers were really, really bad. Dallas in general was bad at home. And that really wasn't the calling card for Dallas for multiple seasons. It's kind of flipped over the last 2 years, really. They've been a much better road team. They've been kind of god-awful at home, especially their starts. How many times they get scored on within like 5 minutes of the first period. That's something that they could really, really stand to change. So we'll see how it happens with Pete DeBoer at the helm for his third consecutive year. Should be a great season. Sorry for sort of a weird episode. Feel like I was jumping around. Feel like I'm not all here either. It's been a long couple of days. So maybe my thoughts weren't completely in order, but we got a nice Labor Day weekend. So I'm going to rest up, and hockey's in full swing for me starting next week with training camp for the ice race and everything. So it's go time now. So that's a good thing. It'll keep me busy. And I'll continue to be locked in on Locked On. So thank you as always, and appreciate the love and support, all the kind words on the last few episodes. And some of you also sent me some recommendations to eat here in Corpus, and I will certainly make my way to a few of those as well. So enjoy your Labor Day weekend. College football's back, baby. So enjoy a great weekend of football, food, and family. And we'll see you next week. So long, Stars fans.